Yo, what's up, guys? Hope you guys all had a great weekend. We're back for this Monday slate. We're going to discuss the early slate and the main slate. Also, going to talk about baseball, which is coming up right around the corner in a few months. As soon as one of the big three DFS sport ends, another one starts really, really soon. And baseball is coming up in about a little over 2 months. So I have a special out today. It's also MLK Day, so I added even more spin on that. So we'll discuss that, as well as the two slates that we have for today. So before we get started and everything, please like and subscribe. Going to start it off with the baseball package that I'm going to have for this year. So I've only been playing Draftkings, but this season I'm going to try FanDuel as well for baseball. So the package is very discounted. It's super cheap, $75 for the whole year. As you see, it comes out to under 30 cents a day, with baseball being the longest DFS sport out there, over 7 months, also playoffs included. So I want to make myself the most affordable provider out there. I don't want to be out here charging $300, $400, $500 for a baseball package, which you will see from a lot of people that do provide, but I want to keep it cheap and so everybody can afford it if they want. I'm also going to be doing an article for baseball where I break down some more stacks that I like and give detailed information about the pitchers and hitters. So what I mean by that is baseball is one of the DFS sports that is pretty volatile, but you can also account for that volatility. You can minimize that by doing extra research. You can look into the stats and see if a hitter hits at a higher percentage, has a higher batting average against a certain type of pitcher, whether it be left-handed or right-handed, or if they hit a specific pitch well. Now there's so much data out there, it's pretty easy to find that. So I have that all on the short article, as well as the pitchers, which side, which hitters they've had struggles with in the past, or which side of the plate they do better against, and how many hitters they have on that team. So I'm giving a lot of more information on that. And also do Slack for that for baseball too. It's going to be available for all the season-long members. Try to do Slack for NFL, but only a few people signed up for the Slack, so it just wasn't worth it. But for baseball, I really want to push the Slack so we can have like a own community. So that's what I got for baseball. It's only $75 today only for Martin Luther King Day. So 50 people can get that at that price, and then 50 more people can get it at 100 before it goes back to 175. So that's still very cheap compared to some other sites, at least I like to think. And you get both sites. So all you have to do is hit the buy now button if you want, and as long as you have have a site email that matches the PayPal email, you will get access to this MLB private page where all the information will be posted every day. So let's get on to the slate. We have a 5-game early slate and I think a 4-game night slate or something like that. For the early slate, first guy I like is Eric Bledsoe. He's at 6,800. He's been balling out as of late. Really been playing super well. Bucks are involved in a lot of blowouts lately, so he hasn't played a ton of minutes, like 25, 22, 26, but he's been super productive, even in those limited minutes, 42, 31, 36, 50, 48 Draftkings points. Been pretty solid and consistent, shooting the ball very well as of late, and he is averaging about 1.2 Draftkings points per minute this year. He's only averaging 29 minutes per game because the Bucks are involved in a lot of blowouts. But if the game is close, he's going to see like 32, 33 minutes, and he can push it up to like 40, 50 Draftkings points. It's a really good matchup here against the Mavericks. If Dennis Smith is back for this one, he should have a lot of success against him, or he's going to see a lot of time against Brunson as well. So Bledsoe at 6,800, I like him quite a bit today. At shooting guard, I like Bradley Beal. He's at 9,400. Bradley Beal has so much upside without John Wall. He plays a ton of minutes, like 38, 39 minutes, we're talking, even 40 minutes as well. There's so many minutes, he's just like James Harden. But his price tag is very cheap at 9,400. He's been getting a ton of rebounds lately. His numbers are going up, way up, without John Wall for the last couple weeks. And he's been super consistent, getting 40s and 50s. Had a 93-point outing in a double overtime game. So he has a ton of upside. Against Detroit, they don't play the fastest, but at home, Bradley Beal, I love playing Bradley Beal at home. He's been averaging, he shoots the ball a lot better at home, and he's averaging more Draftkings points at home. At 9,400, with the amount of upside he has, I like Bradley Beal on the slate. Also like Otto Porter. He's not expensive at all, only 6,200. He's been coming off the bench, but he still has been playing like starter minutes, 33, 30, 44, 35, and been very solid lately. Took him a few games to get back after missing a bunch of time, but he looks like the Otto Porter of old. He's also been getting a lot of rebounds. He's shooting almost 40% from three. So he's been steady and consistent as well. Without Markieff Morris, without John Wall, obviously, there are a ton of minutes to go around and a ton of production to be had on the court. So Otto Porter's another guy that should soak up a ton of usage and should soak up a lot of DraftKings points in this matchup. So on the other side, I'm going to run it back with Blake Griffin. Andre Drummond is already out for this game. Without Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin does everything on the court. He's going to see another guy that's going to see 37, 38, 39 minutes. He's not going to see like 30, 31 minutes like some other starters will. Blake Griffin's going to be playing close to 40 minutes, obviously, as long as it's not a blowout. He has 60-point upside, 70-point upside. With the first game when Andre Drummond played only 7 minutes, he was 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Second game, his rebounding numbers and assist numbers were way below average. But without Andre Drummond, you would expect those numbers to go up. So I'm not concerned about that. It's a solid matchup against the Wizards. Blake Griffin has a ton of upside, and without Andre Drummond, has a ton of rebounding upside that he wouldn't normally have. Speaking of centers, I like Zaza Pachulia. He's just super cheap still at 4,100. The Draftkings may raise his price, but they did not. They raised it a bit, but it's still 4,100. He played 35 minutes without Andre Drummond in the game last game. He's going to play a ton of minutes again, or should play a lot of minutes here against the Wizards, against Thomas Bryant, against Ian Mahimi when he's out there, Jan Mahimi, whatever. But he has a ton of upside. He has that double-double upside and can easily go like 10x at the salary. Maybe not 10x, but can easily go like 7, 8x. So it definitely takes Zaz at that price. And then I'm just going to continue stacking up this game. I think it's a great stack. I like Luke Kennard. He's only 3,900, gives you some value, gives you some savings. He's been playing a lot of minutes lately and been very productive, 23 and 34, and he's had 29 and 32 DraftKings points. Price tag is still very cheap, and it's just a spot where, you can, another guy that can get you like 7, 8, 9x upside. So I like Kennard at this price in this matchup. So that's what I like for the early slate. Let's get on to the main slate. So 4-game main slate, a couple of good games here, Houston, Philly. Golden State Lakers would be a lot more interesting if LeBron was going to play, but he's doubtful. But either way, and Lonzo Ball's out too. But I've started off with Lance Stevenson. He's at 4,000. So I like this guy a lot in this spot. Without Lonzo Ball, you should see a lot more minutes. He should have already been getting a lot of minutes without LeBron James. I mean, Stevenson should not be playing like 3 minutes, 14 minutes. Like, he should be playing a lot more minutes without LeBron. But, he just hasn't been. But this is a spot where he's going to play a lot of minutes. Or he should see a lot of minutes off the bench because Lakers are going to be thin without Ball too. When he's out there on the court, he should be handling the ball a lot too. Has a little bit of assist upside. He's been a great rebounder, always at the guard position, and can always light it up and score a bunch of points. So at 4,000, I like him at point guard or shooting guard. It gives you some savings. At shooting guard, I like Eric Gordon. He's only 5,900. Look, James Harden's probably gonna get a lot of ownership. But the Houston Rockets, he's been getting saved a little bit by the overtime. That the Rockets have been playing a lot of games that have gone into overtime lately. Last 2 have been. But Harden's obviously a great play. But on this slate, I think there's some other guys that I like a little more point per dollar wise. Eric Gordon is one of them. He gives you that upside at a cheap price, only 5,900. He's going to be taking a ton of shots. And he's been shooting the ball a lot better lately. 40, 50, 50% from 3 last 3 games. After he got off to a terrible shooting start, ever since he's been back from his knee injury, he's been very solid. So I like Eric Gordon at 5,900. Speaking of underpriced guys, I like Josh Richardson, only 5,600. He is like the only player on the Heat whose minutes are very secure. He's going to be playing like 34, 36 minutes a game in competitive games. Has like 40-point upside. He's very cheap still at 5,600. Matchup's not ideal against Boston, but his price tag is at a point where it doesn't take much for a guy like him to make value, playing the amount of minutes he does. He did manage to put up 33 in the first game against the Celtics, so at that price, that's 6x value right there. And he does have a big upside ceiling, so I like Josh Richardson. At center, I like Joel Embiid. He's questionable with back spasms, but he's been questionable for the last 2 games, and he's played through that back spasms or the back tightness. Each of the last 2 games have been solid with 51 and 58. This is a spot where it could be an absolute smash spot for Embiid. Sixers are not going to take Embiid off the court. And, if the Rockets have been starting P.J. Tucker at the center lately, there's no way. I don't think they can start P.J. Tucker in this one. But if they do, Embiid should absolutely dominate. Without Capella, there's nobody that can really match up with Embiid. Chris can't match up to him. Nene can only play like 15, 20 minutes max. So Embiid should absolutely dominate here against the Rockets at home. I just love him at 10-1. So I'm pretty sure he's going to play. Maybe that questionable tag will take some people off of him, but it's a smash spot against Houston without Capella. I've been playing super small lately, but I don't see how they can go small in this one. Next up, I like Andre Iguodala. If we're going to get a piece of the Golden State Warriors, I don't mind playing Iguodala. He's been very solid, plays his role with like 22, 25 minutes. Been so productive with getting you 6x value, 23, 25, 22, 29, 17, 20, 21. Pretty solid and consistent, getting you right around 6x or a little more than 6x value. Against the Lakers, he went off the first time against them. I'm not really expecting him to score 23 points, but you don't really need him to at the salary. He's just his price at a point where when he comes off the bench, he gets rebounds, gets assists, gets steals, scores a little bit, and it doesn't take much for him to make value with doing all this, filling up the box score that he does every night. So I like Iggy. And then finally, I like Damian Lillard. I'm looking at 8,300. Love the price on Lillard today. A bargain. Hasn't had his big Lillard. Hasn't had big games lately, but he's been solid with like 40s. We all know he has that 60-point upside. Can light it up when he's hot. He had big games against the Jazz last year. First game against them, or first couple times against them this year, he hasn't really done much, but I think it's still a pretty good spot for him. If Rubio is back, he might still be bothered by the hamstring. If he's not back, then Mitchell's not a great defender. I still think Lillard at 8,300 is price tag at a point where you're getting a lot of upside, and you don't really have much risk because he's a very solid player. He's going to get you 40 close, which is going to be 5, 8, 6x value right there. So those are the plays that I like for the early and main slate. If you want to cop that baseball deal for today, you can visit the website, dfsprocess.net. Links in description. Thanks for watching, and good luck today.